Support WrestleTalk!
Be friendly in the comments.
How WWE ruined Rusev Day. I'm Ollie Davis, this is the other one, Luke Owen. Welcome to the Smackdown review edition of WrestleRamble, which is brought to you by Beer52. Go over to www.beer52.com/WrestleTalk to get your free case of craft beer. We'll be tasting this beauty in the break. But, yes, this started almost exactly a year ago, a year and a couple of weeks, where Rusev brought down Aiden English off the back of Rusev's feud with Randy Orton, where Rusev was beaten in seconds at SummerSlam, and then he kind of got his win back and everyone was flattened out to nothing in the usual style of WWE booking. And Aiden comes down and it's like the mayor of Rusev's
Plovdiv, I believe it's called.
Plovdiv, yes.
Plovdiv.
His hometown, don't know if it's real or if it's a made-up one, but Rusev is actually Bulgarian.
I did not do geography at GCSE, so I don't know.
Even people who did do geography, I think, would have a hard time knowing all of the towns in Eastern European countries.
My wife studied geography at university, and I don't think she would know either. She did, yeah. Human geography.
Human geography? What, like... That's a mountain range.
It's in I think it's like to do with like populations and like how populations are managed and things like that.
Huh. Well, Aiden English comes out, and in honor of the mayor declaring this day Rusev Day, Aiden sings an original composition that was in no way based on Randy Orton's entrance music called Rusev Day, and that got over to a ridiculous degree. Top selling piece of merchandise on WWE.com. Like, anyone could see this was popular. Everyone loved it. The t-shirts were going crazy.
Calendar.
And then, yeah, but they underbought the calendar. Do you remember this report?
I do. And in fact, not only did they under-prepare for how many calendars they were going to sell, they were really poor quality because they didn't want to spend any money on this because they all thought this isn't going to sell. So apparently like even the bleed lines weren't right on the calendars. Wow. They were like really, really badly made.
So we all, like, WWE completely missed how organically over Rusev Day had gotten. Or maybe they didn't miss it and they just kind of did that weird WWE, we resent it when you get over by yourself. We only like it when people we want to get over, like Charlotte. Yeah,
yes,
I was going to say Roman Reigns then, but... I forgot.
Yeah.
So this, like, they never really get that push or that run that Rusev Day deserved. No tag team title run when there was a perfect opportunity to do it just before, I believe, Fastlane in February.
And it was last year. We had this chat last time.
Really?
And you said it was earlier this year, and it was last year.
Oh, it was last year. My mistake. And then it comes to about a month ago, after Hell in a Cell. It was the night after the SmackDown after Hell in a Cell. Aiden turns on Rusev and you have this breakup and we're all like, well, you know, Rusev Day deserved a lot more, but at least we're getting a cool angle to come out of it. And it was really engaging soap opera stuff there for 3 weeks.
2 weeks.
Was it only 2 weeks?
More, it felt like it was, yeah, because he announced there was going to be one night in Milwaukee. Oh, yes, maybe it was 3 weeks. He announced there was one night in Milwaukee, then he showed the first part of it, and then by the second part of it, he'd already been scuppered.
Yes, okay.
We said it really felt like they cut this angle short. Little did we know they were going to cut it even shorter with tonight's show.
So this was all, it was Aiden English alluding that he'd had intimate relations with Rusev's wife, Lana. But really, it was all because Aiden was jealous of Lana. Lana came in, broke up the broskies. She, like, in his mind, she yokoed it, to use a term.
To use an outdated term.
But so this was hot. This was a hot angle, I thought. It was one of the most talked about things. Like, people were theorizing that The Rock could get involved because of a promo he did a couple of years ago about teaching Lana the Milwaukee Shuffle or something?
Something like that.
Yeah, and it's just ended on this episode. And even if they extend it out and have another match and they build to a 15th blow-off match at Survivor Series, really, this feud has ended because we've seen Rusev and Lana get their receipt on Aiden.
Yeah, so in the show, just randomly out of nowhere with no build whatsoever, Rusev and Aiden English had a match. on this random episode of SmackDown, and it was over in, a minute, maybe? A minute might be...
It was very short.
Minute might be generous. Essentially, Lana just threw a shoe at Aiden English, then Rusev hit the magic kick. Who throws a shoe?
Conan.
Sorry?
Conan.
Conan, yes.
Yeah.
Conan. You're like Laurie when he says it. Conan.
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 It's
No, Conan. No, it is Conan.
My
Sorry.
Conan.
Yeah, my Conan. Sorry, that was my mistake. You say it correctly.
Two nans together. One's the Conan.
Conan. So Lana throws a shoe. Rusev hits the magic kick, locks in the accolade. English taps out immediately, and that's it. And I thought to myself, well, that's surely that it's over then, really, because we've seen the hero vanquish the villain. Like, if you were watching a Spider-Man movie, and at the end of the first act, Spider-Man beats the Green Goblin and saves the day, like, are you then going to be intrigued to see what the Green Goblin does next?
I guess in WWE's mind, Rusev actually only beat Shocker, and now Shocker's going to go and team up with the Green Goblin or Doc Ock or a bigger rogue, a member of the Rogues Gallery.
So I theorized slightly on the review of this show.
Your notes are a sentence long.
Oh yeah, it literally is. It's like
I mean, mine's not much better. It was such a short.
Nothing to say.
It was from what was one of the most intriguing storylines in WWE. Felt like they wanted to be rid of it so quickly.
Well, it's weird because you and I were saying, probably like last week or maybe the week before, I can't see where they're going to do this match because they haven't got like a big show they can do this on until Survivor Series, which isn't until the middle of November. So you've got to try and like artificially extend out this feud until you can get to that pay-per-view. As I said, little did I know they were just going to randomly do an episode of SmackDown in a 1-minute match. But as I said, I theorized on the SmackDown review of this show, in the 4-minute review, that maybe English is going to find a new guy to sing songs about.
Yes.
And he'll create a new day. Not the new day, but he'll create a new day that can rival Rusev Day. And he'll then say, like, this new day is way more popular than Rusev Day.
So the Rusev Day feud would actually be Aiden would always be a manager type role.
Yes.
Which is a shame because they were a tag team act.
Yeah.
That is the real shame in all this because Rusev will mostly be fine. I can't, like, I've given up on WWE having faith in him or giving him an actual push. It's just stop, start. But he's like, he's like Dolph Ziggler. He's slotted in at that level. He'll be safe until he has enough and leaves.
Yeah.
But Aiden English is a guy who's already lost one tag team partner. Remember, he was part of the Vaudevillains with Simon Gotch. And that act broke up last year, and then he was put in as just a side piece for Rusev that actually got over by itself. And Aiden English is very good. Like, he's a really good performer. He's a perfectly fine wrestler, but it's just like his acting, his facials, his delivery, his singing.
Yes.
Like, these are all really good things that shouldn't be wasted. He
No,
could be SmackDown's Elias.
He really could be, and I don't think they're using this. They're not using him to his full potential. But really, like the real horror of all of this is that they took an angle that could have really caught some fire, and actually did have some fire because when Aiden English was doing those One Night in Milwaukee, when he first made that Milwaukee promo, the crowd were reacting to it with like a big and people were getting into the soap opera aspect of it. So it just seems ridiculous now that they've just ended it with Rusev winning. And I know there are going to be people who'll be like, oh, they'll just have another match. But like, why would you care about another match at this point? Because we've seen the good guy win.
Not even just the good guy, but Lana got the slap in as well.
Yeah,
like, that was
they won.
Like, if Aiden lost but did something nefarious to Lana, or maybe Rusev bumped into... Like, that would have been the perfect way, right? Lana's shouting at Aiden on the apron, he's shouting back, but then he moves out the way, Rusev bumps her off the apron, and then Aiden steals a roll-up victory. I mean, I wouldn't have done it that way. I would have kept them apart for a lot longer until they have a proper blood feud clash. I would have put Aiden with Andrade. Have Andrade, like, sing Andrade's stuff as he comes out, and then Vega can take on Lana at Evolution. I don't know.
Well, that's what I was just loading up, if anyone was wondering why I was looking at my laptop so intently. I was trying to work, like, if Aiden is going to find a new guy, like, who would it be?
Chuck him in with the Big Show in the bar. Everyone else is.
Well, I was going to say, my first thought was like, well, Cesaro Day. But then, but you can't do that because they're in a new faction, Shomaro. So I don't really know who else there could be.
Yeah, in terms of heels. Hey, Samoa Joe's
I was going to say, you don't
missing.
want to do Joe, do you? Because otherwise that turns Joe into a comedy act. And that's the last thing you want to do.
Yeah,
is
not
just
at this
Samoa
stage
Joe.
in his
Absolutely
career.
not.
Although there is great value, I think, in Aiden skipping around a big Samoa Joe, kind of like the Martin Prince and Nelson thing people describe Sammy and Kevin Owens
The
as.
only other person I could suggest would be Shinsuke Nakamura. And at least then Rusev is into... And actually, at least then Shinsuke Nakamura gets a storyline, which he hasn't had since he won the belt. And it gets the United States Championship back into a storyline, and it gives Rusev sort of like a title picture that he can slot himself into.
Yeah.
So there are some benefits to it.
I think nationalistic storylines are played out. However, I think Aiden's siding with Nakamura because Nakamura is a true American.
Yes.
Against this dirty immigrant Rusev.
Yeah.
Could be quite a good feud.
You release a Nakamura Day T-shirt in the red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
With the Star Spangled Banner and things like that.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, I can't see Aiden doing anything. I think he's going to fade into that Ty Dillinger slot now and just Thanos away from our screens, unfortunately, which is a real shame because he's very talented.
Yeah, it's a real shame.
Beer52.com/WrestleTalk. Go over there and get your free case of craft beer. UK viewers only. Should have said that in the intro. Here comes the Foley because we're tucking into a can today, a can of stout.
Oh, yes.
Hopefully that sounded good.
Yeah.
Okay. Take it away, Luke, with the description.
This is from the Garden Brewery, who we spoke about a couple of weeks ago, I believe. So this is their stout, quite malty by all accounts. It's a 5.7. It's a milk stout, which I'm not sure I've ever really had.
A milk stout?
A dark and milky breakfast stout with lingering notes of coffee, chocolate, and dark caramel that ends with a touch of alcohol heat. An almost coffee cream head with a toasty bourbon aroma, full-bodied with a low to medium bitterness and low carbonation.
Wow, I might have found my beer. This is delicious. This is 5.7%.
You do love a stout.
It does taste milky, the texture.
Interesting.
Let me have one more sip and I'll give it to you.
Yeah. I mean, it's only when my wife hates milk, so I'd imagine she would really not like this. So let's see what I do think.
Great Foley again.
I see what you're saying. I'm not sure. I'm not a big stout drinker.
Not as much of a man as me, are you? Why is that so funny? It was a joke, but...
I know. Sorry. No, I'm more of a pale ale or a Pilsner man.
Got that from your complexion. Shall we do some Patreon shout-outs? $25 a month or more pledge hammers, you get a shout-out on this very show. So thank you, Infinite Crisis, Chris Jenkins.
Yes.
Woo! Yes.
Chris Jenkins has sent us a package in the mail, which we're going to be opening up on the podcast version of this show.
You brought it with you?
I need to go back to the office to grab it. But we're going to be opening that up. So thank you very much, Infinite Crisis. I want to be like you, Chris Louis. Yes.
Yes. Thanks, Chris Louis.
Lovely stuff.
Christopher the Condor Johnson.
Oh, what a condor.
Or the Condor the Chris Johnson. We should probably rename him as.
Let's have a drink. Let's have a... I was right.
You were right.
Let's have a drink. Christopher Trevor's Merry Man. Yes.
He's
Drink.
the merry man.
Like, such a merry man.
Courtney Villainous Havoc Summers. We're just gonna wish you a happy birthday
again.
every episode.
Yes, let's definitely every day is Courtney Day.
Yes, but actually only once a month when we do the shout-outs. But happy birthday,
Happy birthday, Courtney. Who's next? Well, of course, it's the mayor of Painesville, the bridesmaid but never the bride, a real Dan's Dan. Dan! Yes, with all the nicknames.
Rob Pontin Problems, Pontin?
Yes,
Woo!
Pontin, welcome back,
Nice
by the way.
work.
Welcome back. Dead the Pool Warrior. Yes.
Oh, I thought there was a last name.
No,
that's cool.
Dead the Pool Warrior.
Dive Dylan Cachetta.
Yes.
Whoa, come on, Dylan. I love that Randy Orton meme.
With a nice old reference. And they drew first blood, not me. Grace Rambo.
Woo!
Yes, Rambo references, speaking of old things.
Let's get on with the SmackDown review.
It's a SmackDown review, Maggle. I love it. We got us a flying Uso.
What a different opening this was from Raw. Raw. This week's Raw had one of the most emotionally devastating wrestling segments I've ever seen. I still cannot get over it. Yeah, it's awful. And I had that in my head when this episode started.
Yeah.
And it's nothing on the New Day, but when they walk out like being happy and everything, I was just like, I'm not in the mood. Plus, you just lost your titles last week due to nefarious means.
Yes, with the Big Show.
Be a bit grumpy.
Which is what they were talking about in their opening promo. Is that they said the bar don't set the bar, they lowered the bar.
That was a good line.
And Big E said that Big Show. They should call him the bartender, and he flips back and forth more than a flapjack.
So although they talked as though they were angry, like the content of the script was angry, I did not get that from them. I think that was I would like to see them just come out and be annoyed.
Yes,
Just walk down. Or at least one of them's annoyed.
Well, they've got their guaranteed title shot. They're having their rematch at Crown Jewel, so they don't need to be angry about it because they're getting their title rematch.
Well, it's quite a unique title rematch in that there's an extra guy in there. So it's a 6-man tag, right?
No, it's just a tag team match.
I could swear it was a 6-man tag with the titles on the line.
Well, that might be what they say, but it's advertised on the website as just the Bar versus New Day.
But the graphic have Big Show in there.
Well, the graphic on the website only has the Bar.
Does it? Oh, okay. Well, maybe I understood that wrong.
Or maybe I misunderstood it.
Yeah. Or maybe WWE we just don't know what's happening with Crown Jewel. It could have been called off by now. We should have put that as the disclaimer.
Yes. We don't know. At the time of this recording, Crown Jewel is still going ahead. We have got our website writer, Andy Datson, he's going to message us if anything changes on this pre-recorded show that you're seeing many hours later. So that things might have changed.
Yeah, my news has got stuff about it. Everything could be dated, annoyingly. God, again, no one thinks about us in this whole big controversy. What about the poor WrestleTalk guys who have to make videos?
I know, right? But
it's
anyway,
only so long you can turn those things around.
So Show Maro came out, and
with now 3 pieces of entrance music. So Cesaro's then you get Sheamus's dun, 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 which is great. And then they both do the bar point in the middle. Well, and out comes Big Show. Too many music changes.
This led to Kofi Kingston versus Big Show.
You've got nothing to say on that.
It doesn't really bother me, to be honest. Entrances just wash over me in this company.
It's just because my problem with the bar is that that's the last thing they haven't merged together. Everything else, like movesets, gear, name, all coherent. Why not make them one entrance music piece?
Well, that is their entrance music.
But it's a mishmash of Cesaro and...
it's the start of Cesaro's and all of Sheamus's.
I don't buy it.
But this led to a match between Kofi Kingston and the Big Show. It wasn't really a match, though, because Big Show just beat up Kofi a lot, chokeslammed him several times over, and then a brawl broke out, and Show Maro stood tall. I mean, if you can't tell by my tone, or if you haven't watched my 4-minute review, I wasn't that keen on this episode of SmackDown Live.
That was rubbish.
It was rubbish.
The crowd were very quiet as well. There was when Big Show was, chokeslam, and I like a Big Show chokeslam, but the crowd were dead. And this is, it looked brutal. Just picking him up, Kofi ragdolling him down again and again and again, but the crowd was silent.
Well, I mean, they were certainly more quiet during the main event.
Yes,
But anyway, it wasn't really much of an opening segment. But yeah, they're having a match at Crown Jewel next Friday, if that show is still happening. We then got a video package for Roman Reigns. Heartbreaking stuff to watch at 5:30 in the morning.
There was an ooh-ah chant from the crowd afterwards, which...
It's lovely.
Yeah. I wish I felt this way about him when he was wrestling, I wish the babyface thing worked now, but it didn't.
Have you seen...
Would have loved to have actually chanted "Ooh-ah" and meant it.
Have you seen all the conspiracy theories coming out now? I saw them in the comments yesterday. Like, when the videos first went up, you had a lot of people coming in to be like, thank you, Roman. Was never a fan of his character, but this is awful. The basic sort of thing that we were saying on our videos. Then when I checked the comments this morning, it was all like, it's all a work. This is just like, they'll do anything to get Roman over. So either these are people who are just doing it to troll, but do you see Scott Hudson, former WCW commentator Scott Hudson, is adamant it's a work. Like, he is 100% convinced that it's not real.
You know what? I hope it's a work. I hope someone doesn't have leukemia. Unfortunately, I don't even think WWE that depraved to fake something like that.
Yeah. Next up, we got the Usos taking on AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan, a rematch from last week.
Oh, that's lazy.
Weird. If you want to talk about lazy, the exact same finish, which was malfunction at the junction, and the Usos picked up the win.
I mean, what can you say? This is just copy and paste.
Well, this is Control-C, Control-V.
And this is like, we said it, at the start of the year, well, not the start of the wrestling year, so April, and you had the Superstars shake-up, and you had, on SmackDown, Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Samoa Joe. When those four start to pair off and feud against each other, we're like, this is going to be amazing. Like, this is going to be a golden age, like the new SmackDown 6 era. The work rate's going to be phenomenal. But Samoa Joe and AJ is, largely... It was okay in parts, but it was nowhere near as good as it should have been.
It was incoherent.
Yeah, same with AJ and Nakamura. And now with AJ and Bryan. Like, this is a feud. This is an open goal. And they are just booting it over the crossbar every time.
And made worse when these two cut a promo backstage and Daniel Bryan starts calling him Pinocchio. So, like, no reaction whatsoever, because why would you react to your #1 contender to the WWE Championship using childish insults like Pinocchio? Oh, your nose is growing because I don't think you're telling the truth. It's really bad.
Yeah, Bryan's heart didn't seem to be in these lines.
Absolutely not. Why would it be?
So the AJ and Bryan work together off the bat. Then the Usos come back. The Usos actually say the finish first. It was the same finish, but it was reversed. Yeah. So AJ goes for the phenomenal forearm, but he nearly hits Bryan. They both stop. Usos get in between them, so AJ does a Pele kick, but that one hits Bryan, and then an Uso splash on AJ for the win. Did you see the Uso splash, what he did in midair?
I did not.
He cocked the fist
did it really? Very
in honor
nice.
of his real-life cousin, Roman
Very
Reigns.
nice.
But then, they just stared at each other afterwards, looking a bit grumpy, AJ and Bryan. Lame. That is just such a lame way to to tell this story. And then afterwards it's Dasha who interviews AJ and Bryan, and they said, was that an accident? And AJ goes, of course it was an accident. Of course it was. Just like last week's was, when Bryan hit me. And Bryan goes, yeah, last week's was an accident, but this week's was an accident too. And then that's where the tension came, and it was just nothing. It was so uninspired.
It was nothing, but I felt this whole show, it almost felt like it was an autopilot.
Yeah, totally.
It was a week where they thought, well, we'll do all of our build for Crown Jewel next week. So we don't because maybe we don't know if the show's going ahead, so let's just put a show on. In that case, then, I mean, granted, you shot yourself in the foot slightly. Evolution is this Sunday. Put more focus on that.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Totally agree.
You know that show is happening. Evolution, this is the go-home show for Evolution. You could be easily forgiven for forgetting that. There was 2 segments on this show that were dedicated to that because, as we said yesterday, SmackDown only has one storyline going into that show. A show that has 7 matches, there is one storyline on SmackDown going into it. That is an absolute travesty. Which brings us to, that's a nice little segue, I guess. We've got a recap of the altercation at the Performance Center that happened over the weekend. WWE reported on this, WWE.com reported on this. So Charlotte was giving this sort of horribly scripted speech about evolution.
It was awkward.
I don't know, it was just some pandering nonsense about following your dreams or some crap. And
she did not sound genuine.
Well, no, and the people who were standing there were looking at her, I was like, you're not believing anything you're saying because we've already seen the script. We know what's going to happen.
Like, why not just say, go on, Charlotte, do a seminar like you usually would and make it feel real? This was rubbish.
And then she took a Q&A, like it was a book signing, and there were some plants in there to ask questions. Oh, I've got a question. And then one of the competitors of the Mae Young Classic asked a question, but that was when Becky Lynch came in. And it was at this point, I was like, oh, Shayna Baszler's there.
Oh, was she?
I saw Shayna, and Marina Shafir was there, but more importantly, Shayna Baszler was there. And I thought to myself, she's on the Evolution card.
Wow.
She has
They've
a
done
match.
Nothing for that, have they?
Exactly, and that's my point. You'd have thought, if you're trying to hype up people for this show, not everyone's watching NXT. So why didn't you have Shayna Baszler come out for like a featured match on Raw or SmackDown, or Kairi Sane come out for a featured match? But aside from just saying they are having a match on commentary, they've done nothing on either Raw or SmackDown to build this, which is exemplified here when you've got Shayna Baszler standing there. No one makes any mention that she has a match at Evolution. Like,
oh yeah,
and Shayna Baszler's character, like, why is she there? Because if Charlotte's standing there being like, Evolution's this great show for all of us, and Shayna Baszler should be like, yeah, and I'm there, and I'm gonna win because I'm the best.
Yeah.
It's really bad for her to have been in that position.
Yeah, the main roster really does not care about what's going on in NXT.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, but just think, like, okay, you've got two performers, Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler, who are in Evolution. Most of the main roster audience is not going to know who these people are at all. A very small amount of people actually watch NXT compared to Raw and SmackDown. So I would have Shayna Baszler do an exhibition match against someone on Raw.
Absolutely.
And hey, Kairi Sane against Asuka as a huge exhibition match on SmackDown.
Yeah.
And you do a finish that protects everyone. Maybe that's when you have all the women run down and thrown over the top rope nonsense.
Yeah.
But this was. I mean, I saw Mia Yim in there talking of other show people spotting. Of course, she was Jade in TNA. And Chelsea Green, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I didn't spot Chelsea Green.
She might have not been Chelsea Green, because she's got like dark hair now, which makes her look like a lot of different people. The blonde hair was usually an identifier. But yeah, Becky walks in much better than Charlotte.
Oh, so much better than Charlotte.
She sounds like a real person.
And yeah, she comes in and essentially says, never make friends on the main roster because they'll just stab you in the back. And then a brawl broke out between Becky and Charlotte, and they had to sort of pull apart thing.
I like the idea.
Yes, the idea was absolutely fine. Problem was, this is the go-home show. Like, this is not a go-home angle for this feud. Like,
it's a week 2 or 3 thing, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. You could have done something there.
But
I wouldn't have about Shayna Baszler there.
Yeah, and Charlotte's performance was bad. But it's very Triple H. This was a very Triple H NXT way of building a feud.
Yeah, and then Charlotte cut another awfully scripted promo backstage where she said that, like, of all the things Becky has done, what you did at the NXT Performance Center was disrespectful. That's where we made ourselves. And I was like, you don't sound like you believe this at all.
And, like, we don't care about it. You sound like a dork, Charlotte. Becky's so much cooler than you. Of course we're going to root for her over teacher's pet Charlotte.
And apparently the story is, so the rumoured WrestleMania main event for next year was, like, since day dot of Ronda Rousey coming to this company, was Flair versus Rousey. Like, it's our 2 biggest, like, female stars on the roster, and they're going to collide in the main event of WrestleMania. Word is now that match might be off the cards because of the way that Charlotte has been booked in this feud, because she's now so cold off the back of this Becky Lynch feud that they might have to pull that match and think of something different to do. And, like, you've really got only yourselves to blame in that, because it's not Charlotte's fault that you've booked her to be this absolute dork. It's your fault.
Yeah.
Really is a shame.
Yeah, a dork against someone who's so much cooler.
Yeah.
Maybe this act could work against, I don't know, the Iconics.
Carmella.
Yeah, Carmella. Yeah, that worked great, didn't it?
Yeah, sorry.
And, like, the other thing is, as bad, not as bad as this segment was, but as out of place as this segment was. So this should have been week 2 or 3 in the build. This should have been, like, they should have got the main event.
Absolutely.
They should have had a better angle, and Becky and Charlotte should have been in the go-home main event angle heading into Evolution. WWE has no excuse for why that's the case, why that wasn't the case.
Nope. Absolutely
because
not.
what we got was Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton, with nothing on the line and no interest whatsoever.
It was the most pedestrian match.
Oh my God.
Well, we'll get to that. But anyway, yeah, I thought this segment was yeah, I thought it was fine, just in the wrong place in terms of this build. And I thought it was, I thought it made Shayna Baszler look a bit stupid. And I know the fact that Charlotte's there going like, and you can totally carry your characters over into the main roster. And I was like, apparently not, mate, because she's not even allowed to have her character here, and she's in NXT.
Yeah. We just to double down on this. Charlotte's to camera promo was terrible.
I thought Kurt Angle would have the worst promo of the week, but man, Charlotte's always there to steal that spotlight.
It was really bad.
Yeah. We then got the Rusev and Aiden English stuff. Then we got Miz TV with Rey Mysterio. And I'll be honest, at the end of this segment, I can't tell you what they talked about.
I thought this was probably the best. I mean, it's damning with faint praise. I thought this was the best segment on the show.
I thought the match was good.
Yes.
But I thought the actual talking segment, I can't tell you what they actually spoke about.
Well, it was actually, I liked it. So Miz comes out. The crowd initially sounds so... like they are quiet. When Miz goes, "Welcome to Miz TV," like you could hear the individual voices. That's how sparse the crowd was here. But Miz frames it, it's all about the Crown Jewel World Cup because Miz and Mysterio are both in that. Brings down Rey for the interview, and he says it's not the 90s anymore. People aren't into underdog Rey. They're into A-listers like the Miz, larger-than-life characters like the Miz. And he kept repeating it. And that got the crowd, so the crowd started to boo and get into this.
Oh, okay.
Miz, I thought Miz's performance here was John Cena levels of getting a crowd to wake up and care about something in the ring.
He was very good in which, because Rey didn't really have a lot to say, but he did stand up and was like, "I'm not here to talk on your dusty show. I'm here to have a fight." And the crowd got into a bit of a yes chant. And Miz, because he's so good at this, was just like, this audience doesn't want to see a wrestling match between us.
He's playing them.
Playing them like a fiddle. He's very, very good at doing that, manipulating the audience.
And the reason that Rey probably got that pop was off the back of all the heat that Miz was getting. It's that heat transference. Heat transference. Rey also had a nice line where he says, "I was booked for Truth TV."
Yeah.
It's not a format anymore. But yeah, like he says he wants to fight. Miz says, I'm not going to do it. But then he attacks him, and it turns into Miz versus Rey. I
thought this was actually a really decent match.
Yeah, I like Rey.
I like Rey.
If you told me this 5 years ago, you're going to be into Rey Mysterio in WWE.
I know, right?
I'd have been like, shut up. I hate him. I'm sick of him. I just want him to go away. But he's just...
It's really nice to have him back. Yeah. I think he's had a terrific 2018, but I'm really, really glad to see him back in this. And he can take what is a fairly mundane match of Miz versus Rey Mysterio. Like, they even put this over on commentary. Like, it's been 6 years since these two last had a match on WWE, and I thought, crikey, we're not moving forward, are we?
Can't wait for that Jeff Hardy Randy Orton main event.
I know. But I thought this was actually a fun little match. And I thought there was a lot of reversals, a lot of counters and stuff like that.
Rey's counters were really good.
Really, really good. And Rey eventually hit the 619. They built it up so Rey couldn't hit the 619 throughout the match. And then he finally got it, dropped the dime for the win. I thought it was a fun little match.
Yeah, that the crowd were into, because I really think it's down to Miz there. Yeah. Just one question. Rey's very, very visually impressive baseball, prone baseball slide.
Yeah, the penguin splash.
The penguins. How does that not burn his torso?
Because he's made of iron.
Or he's just lubricated.
Or he's just very lubricated.
When the ring canvases have a bit of friction to them.
Yeah.
When you slide out at that speed.
Mate,
I don't know how he's doing it.
It's impressive.
Is it just all on his dick? He's just got he's just tensing his buttocks, pushing forward.
Yeah.
And those leathery pants.
Yeah, that's what it all is. It's all in the slide on the pants, I guess.
So
really.
it's his body isn't actually touching it. It's all the pelvis reason.
Maybe that's what it is, yeah. But yeah, I thought it was a fun little segment. Although it does, and this kind of plays into the main event as well, of this World Cup to determine the best in the world. 2 people in that World Cup have already lost their matches to people who are in that tournament. Yeah. So we're sort of already deciding who the best in the world is before we even get there.
So it's a tournament, is it?
Yes, they do keep saying it's a one-night tournament.
Okay. I don't know why that doesn't go in my head.
Because if Miz beats Mysterio at the World Cup, does that negate Rey's win here? Because surely Rey's already proven that he's better than Miz.
It's all about on the night, mate.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of on the night, this is a terrible segue. Naomi and
There's
Asuka.
no speaking of that at all.
Oh, no. Naomi and Asuka was set to face Absolution of Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. But before the match could even start, the Iconics came out and cut a very short promo. I love the Iconics, but they, probably because they're not given the time for like the punchlines to land. But like the Bellas yesterday, on Raw rather, on Monday, they're not very good at like the I don't want to do this in this hometown of your I don't want to do this in your local sports team. Like they just say like, well, let's not do this in this town. And it never gets the same crowd reaction as when Elias does it, of when it's just like, by the way, your local sports team is rubbish.
Yeah, because they go straight into the next line. Or they're like part of their gimmick and delivery is that they talk over each other, or they're very quick because, you know, they're best friends and everything, they natter. But yeah, like I agree with that. Yeah, we would be terrible at getting beats. I do like their Iconic, which they did.
Superhero pose,
and Lana came out.
Yeah, Lana came out and said it's a happy Lana day, and then Carmella comes out for a dance break, and then Zelina Vega throws her into the ring, a brawl breaks out.
Where did Vega come from?
She ran out from the back.
Okay, because I only realised she was there when she was in the ring standing tall near the end. Where did she come from? Because I tuned out of this segment because it was awful. Like, this was
your final build.
It was an embarrassment. Like, no wonder all the women are annoyed that they're all been relegated to this battle royal.
80% of the WWE roster, more or less 80%, that's a rough guess, are in that battle royal. And as I said in the review, they're just going to get overshadowed by the nostalgia acts.
Yeah.
Nostalgia acts that WWE have done nothing to promote other than say their names on commentary. Like, they've done zero build for this to even get you excited that there are going to be nostalgia acts in this. Like, they were talking about this on Wrestling Observer Radio. This is Medusa, Alundra Blaze's first match since 2001. She hasn't wrestled since WCW closed its doors in 2001. And she is just in this match. And there's been virtually zero mention of that.
Yeah, like, where's the video packages building up these returning legends?
Absolutely. Like, you've got the footage.
Yeah.
Just take some time out to edit them together. This was bad. And Asuka stood tall at the end. Who could possibly care? Asuka and Naomi had a dance-off during Mixed Match Challenge. That'll put butts in seats. And then...
It was just, like, when Asuka threw out Vega... even though this wasn't a battle royal match, it was meant to be a tag like that, just Thanos'd away, and her music hits, and Asuka's there like, da-da-da, oh, look at me, I'm nibbling something. I was just like, this is embarrassing. So I'm embarrassed for you. I'm embarrassed for me. I'm embarrassed that they put this on. It's just like, come on.
Here's a simple idea. Here is a really simple idea you could have done. Asuka versus Ember Moon at Evolution. Find Ember Moon looking to get that win because she never beat Asuka. She's never beat Asuka in NXT. And then she won the belt, which made it once Asuka vacated it. So you could have actually had, a storyline for Ember Moon where she really wants to beat Asuka. It's been the crutch on her shoulder ever since she came into this company. She's never been able to defeat Asuka and build up a rivalry between the two, a cross-brand thing to do it at Evolution. But nope, they're just both in the Battle Royal.
Yeah.
And no one will care. Shane McMahon came out next to talk about the World Cup.
Oh, God. What up, Newark?
Yep. And he says it's the World Cup to determine the best in the world. The crowd started chanting for CM Punk, which was the only thing I really liked about the segment. And he just went, I don't believe he's in this tournament.
I wish he would. Duly noted. So there was a report from PW Insider last week that said Shane McMahon's cameo return for SmackDown 1000 was actually his full return to TV, and it'll be factored into storylines and stuff going forward. And I was like, that's a shame, because Paige has been doing a really, really good job. Like, she's a great general manager. And last time Shane and Paige were together, there was a weird sexual undertone to it that didn't work.
Paige on this show?
Well, so that's how they get round it. They take away one of the best authority figures they've had in years to replace it with Shane McMahon. Like, this was reeked of nepotism. Like, what? He's not a good character. I genuinely thought this was setting up something.
I was like, why is Shane out here to talk about the World Cup? And he's like, someone from the blue brand is going to win it. Perhaps it'll be the Enigma, Jeff Hardy. And I'm like, it's the charismatic Enigma, you dolt. But I genuinely thought this was here to set up something, because there was a match between, I've written here, Jeff Hardy versus Shane McMahon, which you can tell how much I care about this. Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton. And I thought maybe they were going to build into, heaven forbid, a Randy versus Shane feud.
Yeah, like have Shane McMahon at ringside.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought they were doing. And then Shane Thanos'd away.
Or like maybe Shane's got the Crown Jewel trophy. Like, hey, look, here it is. It's ridiculous.
They haven't got that made yet.
Yeah, look at it, because you're never going to see it in a couple of weeks again. And then I was just like, what have you done with Paige? Where is she? I want her back. And where's Samoa Joe? And where's Nakamura? And where's Luke Harper? And where's all the people I like?
Well, instead you got Jeff Hardy versus not Shane McMahon. You got Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton. And the crowd were just shockingly quiet. This was the most pedestrian, autopilot. You know, we were talking yesterday about like looking through the curtain, seeing how loud the crowd are, how busy. I was like, well, we've already got their money. That was this match. No effort with both guys. I mean, Jeff did a swanton onto the floor, I guess. But it was just zero effort, zero emotion. It was a pointless match with zero consequences for a tournament that has even less consequences. This was a dreadful ending to this show. And now all I could think of was just like Evolution's this Sunday. Like Evolution's this Sunday, and this is how you're ending this show, is with Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy.
It's God, it was bad. It's just like the last time these two saw each other was Hell in a Cell, so not actually that long ago. About
less than 30 days.
Yeah, like 4, 5, 6 weeks, and that wrote Jeff off television. And for weeks you've been saying, oh, it was Randy's heinous actions that wrote Jeff off television.
Why would you have a match with Randy Orton? Didn't you not see? Jeff Hardy hasn't been seen around these parts. Then he just came back.
In reality, it was Jeff Hardy's own recklessness that wrote him off TV, because he tried that splash through the table. But then it's like, okay, so you're going to have this match. I'm done with this feud, but you're going to put it on. Like, surely build it up as a big blood feud revenge thriller. But no, like the bell rings and they just go into like a normal wrestling match. Where's Jeff running wild on Orton? Where's the bully Orton getting some like, you know, recompense from the guy he's been tormenting and rode off TV for a couple of weeks? It's just, it was like you said, it was so. But I mean, I even got the impression near the end of the match that Randy Orton was annoyed with the crowd for not being more into it. Like, you know, because Randy's a bit spoilt sometimes, but like definitely back in the day, he would throw tantrums in the ring if stuff didn't go his way or there were botches. He's gotten a lot better at it, but I saw a glimpse of that near the end of this match, and I thought maybe it's because he's blaming the crowd for this rubbish show that WWE had put on, and now this rubbish decade out of date match that we're seeing now. It was bad. It was bad. And
to your point as well, of it's bad enough that WWE booked this match, or SmackDown booked this match, in terms of like, well, you just had this like, you know, killer feud a couple of weeks ago that was meant to have written Jeff Hardy off TV, but neither of those two worked any of that into this match. Like they may as well never have had that feud. Because, like, nothing they did in this was, like, really referencing...
It was a bit of low action.
Yeah, like a little low action. But even then it was like, and then he moved on. It was a really damp ending to this. And, like, I mean, I gave this show Ellsworthy in the SmackDown review. A pathetic Ellsworthy is the way that I put it. But actually, after doing it, I suddenly thought to myself, I was like, well, maybe this really was a smack in the face. This was a really, really bad show. And the only reason I don't think I would have given it a smack in the face is that I don't... Like, for me, if it's to be the worst rating possible, it would have to be really damaging to someone.
Yes.
And I don't think there was anything on this show that was really damaging to anyone. Everyone's flattened out, but I don't think anyone was really, like, you know... no one could come back from it. So I do think it's like a low Ellsworthy, maybe even a high smack in the face.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go for smack in the face.
Well, I think you're totally...
Which is the lowest rating, 1 out of 5. Because, and I agree with you, that's how I rate things. There has to be something absolutely terrible on the show, like really damaging, and nothing else good, really, for it to get that rating. And for me, underselling Evolution in this way was just an embarrassment and reprehensible, really. I think again, it just shows that Evolution is a gimmick pay-per-view.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And like it is a gimmick pay-per-view. They should have made a real effort to make you convince everyone that women's wrestling is something that matters, which it does. But really, it's just exposed their own true feelings on it, where it's just like a little make good for PR.
That's it, yeah. It's a PR exercise. It's the sort of thing, because the people that they're doing this PR for aren't going to watch the show. They're not looking into the show and see all the storylines leading into it. They're just going to look at WWE's press release of, we've done an all-women's pay-per-view, and they'll be like, God, that's really good. That's very good. We want to be involved with this company then, because they're doing a lot of progressive stuff.
Yeah, I'll write up an article for CBS Sports, you know, that sort of stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. That's all this is for. Like, it's not for wrestling fans. It's not for the women in the company. It is literally just so they can get some good PR, which they're in sort of dire need of at the moment. And it's a real shame. It's frankly embarrassing, and they really should be ashamed of themselves. I think it's awful.
So we went from I gave it 5 out of 5. Raw yesterday, very rarely done. I've done it twice in the last couple of weeks. I think Raw's been on an absolute storm recently, and SmackDown has been woeful.
Yeah, it was bad.
This was the worst possible rating. But that's all we've got time for today. Please click on the videos that have just appeared on our laps to catch up with the latest WrestleTalk awesome things, and go to beer52.com/WrestleTalk to get your free case of craft beer. I've been Ollie Davis, this has been Luke Owen, and that was Rambling.